Is Iran a lot more aggressive after this nuke deal? In other words, is it getting really cocky after this and doing whatever the heck it wants? Fox's James Rosen getting the State Department to essentially admit this.
In fact, you have seen a shift. It's gotten worse.
Well,
am I correct about that?
Well, again, I don't have all the facts and figures in front of me, but we have seen some disturbing, as you cited, trends.
But you can't rule out that, in fact, this deal has served as a cause for this more aggressive posture.
I mean, I can't rule that out.
All right. Somehow I'm thinking that he regrets calling on James there. But the fact of the matter is we're waiting another White House briefing beginning shortly. We're going to get reaction likely on that. But in the meantime, we've got former White House National Security Counsel Gillian Turner. You're hearing this, Gillian. I just got to get a handle from you how bad you think this is getting, where we go through hoops and have gone through hoops with cash payments and all the rest to make amends and get deals done with Iran, and they keep flaunting it. In fact, going the opposite way. What do you make of that?
Totally. There's a really strong case to be made for this entire engagement we've had with them since we sat down across the table, the negotiating table with them 2 years ago, has really only emboldened them. Part of this goes back to the original sin of this nuclear deal, in my opinion, which is that we sat down with them without any preconditions. We agreed to take the Iranian nuclear issue outside the context of everything else that goes on in this bilateral relationship, and because of that, there's really no incentive for them to change any of their behaviors.
So what do we do now? I mean, obviously, they feel that they've got the money. Certainly, they got a big down payment on the money in different tranches, I understand, some having to do with prior regimes, others having to do with frozen funds now becoming unfrozen for this regime. But the money's in the bank, so to speak, and the deal is done. What is possibly out there to compel them to follow or obey anything?
It's hard to see really a way forward that can be positive for us coming out of this because, as you said, the hundreds of millions of dollars in cash have been shipped over there already. The nuclear deal has been inked. It was inked a year ago. But what's worrisome is we're not just seeing diplomatic pushback against the U.S. We're seeing now defense pushback in the air and at sea. You know, we've seen a series of provocations in the Persian Gulf over the last year. That's not going anywhere. No one's going to be surprised to see more reports coming just this weekend that the Iranians made threats to U.S. Navy planes flying in the area as well. This is a new phase of this engagement. I think we're going to have to get tougher on them.
What is tougher? I hear that a lot, too. What is tougher? I mean, would we renege on the deal, freeze sending any more money to them? What would we do if they got as ornery as they've continued to get in that region?
As much as I'd like to see the nuclear deal walked back, I don't think that's an option that should reasonably be on the table at this point. The problem with reneging on it is it would cause an uproar across the Western world when it comes to our European allies, who all put a lot of chits on the line in order to help us get this done. We can't unilaterally back out of that now. Even if we did, keep in mind that we're not going to be able to implement a new sanctions regime that's comparable to the old one in a short amount of time. It took something like a decade to get that going. So really what we have to do, when I say be tougher, is we've got to push back at through the diplomatic channels, and we've got to push back through military channels, meaning when they threaten United States Navy planes flying over the Persian Gulf, we've got to push back and not just sort of shrug out of there as we're tending to do these days. It's the only way to get the message across to them.
All right. Gillian, thank you very, very much.